welcome to episode 336 of Retro Encounter, RPG Fans Weekly Podcast of Many Topics. I'm Mike Sollosi, and this weekly topic is Tales of Xillia, that 2011, I think, PS3 RPG from Namco Tales Studio. We'll get into the nitty-gritty of Xillia or Xillia or whatever, however you're supposed to pronounce it. But let's talk to some people whose names I can pronounce, starting with Zach Wilkerson.
Hello.
And Audra Boland.
Hiya.
Zach and Audra, we've done a couple Tales of episodes here on Retro Encounter. We did some on Tales of Vesperia in 2019, I think. And we did a couple on Tales of the Abyss in 2016, I think. I'd have to go back and double check the catalog to see how accurate those are. But I've been a Tales of fan for a long time, and but Tales of Xillia is not one that I've finished yet. So this is checking off a box on my backlog. But before I talk about my background with Tales, let's talk about your backgrounds with Tales of Namco in general and Tales of Xillia in particular. Starting with you, Zach, who got a little ahead of yourself on this playthrough.
That's true. For reasons that I don't need to go into, I was worried that I would have trouble finishing, so I have already finished Tales of Xillia, but it is my first time playing it. And I'm not really a Tales veteran, but I've played a fair number of them at this point, I guess. So I played Tales of Fantasia on emulator, I don't know, like a lot of people did, probably back in 2003 or something. And then I didn't play a Tales of game for years and years and years and years. And then when Berseria came out, it was getting really great reviews, and I was like, all right. I played Berseria. I loved it. The story of that game was phenomenal. And I've dabbled a little bit in Vesperia, but then I've just beaten pretty recently the most recently released one, Tales of Arise, which I liked a lot overall. The combat there was amazing. And this is my first foray into Xillia. So this is my fourth one that I've beaten and kind of my fifth one that I've played a good portion of.
All right. And Audra, same question.
I am a total Tales noob. This is actually, Xillia's my first Tales of game. And so far, I really enjoyed it. I actually, a friend had recommended playing it as one of the first Tales of games, so I decided I would give it a go. And that is pretty much my history of Tales.
All right, well, if you are still Tales curious after you finish Xillia, then you have plenty to go back to, because I think Tales of Xillia is the 13th Tales of series, not counting spin-offs, and they have released another 5 or 6 since then. So it's a series that has a very large backlog to go into. And I've been a Tales of fan for a while, similar to Zach, around 20 years ago. I think probably in 02 or 03. I played the famous Tales of Fantasia translation that took a little bit of a that took some liberties with the translation, and they added some sexual language and profanity that I wasn't sure was there before. But I liked it so much. Playing it again on a translated emulator on a PC, that I went and sought out other Tales games and bought copies of Tales of Destiny and Tales of Eternia. But I thought that Tales of Eternia was Tales of Destiny 2 because that's what they called it in North America for many, many years. Because Eternia is also the name of the land of the He-Man universe, so Mattel had a trademark on the name Eternia, but only in North America. So Tales of Eternia, so it's Tales of Eternia in Japan and Europe, and Tales of Destiny 2 in North America. That's a weird one. But then after that, in the 2000s, maybe not right when they came out, but I eventually got to Tales of Symphonia, Tales of the Abyss, Tales of Legendia. I never finished Destiny, but I did beat Eternia. And most recently, I also played Tales of Arise. I finished it last year, right near the end of the year, and had a great time with it after not playing a new Tales game in a while. So I was excited to get back to Tales of Xillia now. I bought Tales of Xillia right when it came out. I even have some pre-order DLC that is still on my PS3. So if I want to, I can. Maybe this is on your copies as well. You can dress Jude.
Yep.
Yeah, you can just Jude as Cress from Tales of Fantasia and dress Milla as Stan from Tales of Destiny. And if you have their costumes on, it plays the battle theme from their respective games when you.
It's very cool. Yes,
play that in battle,
That's neat.
Which is neat. So I got Tales of Xillia around when it came out, and I had a friend living in town with me, and we did a 2-player run of it pretty far. And I think I am just past where we stopped that 2-player run. It was probably only around 6 hours in. I've been very, very distracted by Monster Hunter Rise, Sunbreak, and other games in July, and I'm sorry, but I will try to finish Tales of Xillia before the next recording. So, but unfortunately, that friend moved away for a job, and I just sort of abandoned that playthrough, even though I was enjoying Tales of Xillia, because I kept saying, "Oh, when he's back in town, we'll get back to it," and left it alone, and it went forgotten. So, but I am around where we stopped playing in probably right around 10 years ago. So, and I started a fresh playthrough, and I'm having a great time. This is so far. For me, as someone who's played a lot of Tales games and finished 7 of them, this feels like one of the good ones. The movement is snappy. The special tricks in combat that make this one unique to the other ones feel pretty good. I like controlling Jude and Milla, and the rest of the characters not quite as much. But before we get into gameplay nitty gritty, I want to talk about what makes this a bit of a unique first Tales games of sorts. You'll see what I mean in a second. Before Tales of Xillia, Tales of Studios was divided into 2 groups. They would usually be working on 2 games at a time, and in one case 3 games at a time, where there's 3 PS2 Tales games released within a year of each other. But they would usually work on 2 games at a time with a different character designer on each one. So dating all the way back to Fantasia, every game was either a Mutsumi Inamata game or a Kosuke Fujishima game. And Fujishima did, I hope I'm getting these right, Fantasia, Symphonia, Abyss, and Vesperia, while Inomata did Destiny, Eternia, Destiny 2, Rebirth, and Graces, while Tales of Legendia was a third group. But so for a while, it was always the character designs were one of those 2, and it was a different team working on a different Tales game. But in for Xillia, they united the 2 studios into a single Tales of studio, and 3 of the main characters in Xillia are designed by Fujishima, and the other 3 are designed by Inomata. I believe it's Jude, Elise, and Leia, the character I haven't met yet, are all Inomata, while Mila, Alvin, and Rowan were designed by Fujishima. So,
Unfortunately, I just looked it up, and it's Jude, Alvin, and Elise are Fujishima,
oh,
and Mila, Rowan, and Leia are Inamata.
I mixed them up. Oh, I feel bad about that. But anyway, like Tales had always been one of 2 designers, and this is the first game that united the 2. Since then, they have always Tales of Studio has been a 1 game studio, and I don't think the 2 designers work on every single character or divide them like in Xillia, but this was sort of the first game that combined the different Tales groups together. Must have made a mistake on my notes.
I like the character designs here; they're cool.
No, they are cool, and
They are
Xillia
good.
does things. There's a lot of like zoom. They zoom into characters' faces more. There's a lot more dynamic camera during cutscenes compared to the previous 2 Tales games, which were Graces and Vesperia. Vesperia was a 360 game, and Graces was a Wii game, but Graces eventually got a PS3 port called Graces F. So like compared to those, Tales of Xillia has bigger and more detailed character models with a dynamic camera going into people's faces and doing weird panning during cutscenes. So I think that maybe starting with Xillia, they put a lot of effort into character models, and but also made the gameplay spaces a little bit more open and empty compared to the denser dungeons in Vesperia. So
I mean, I'm sorry. To me, it felt like because I played enough of Vesperia to kind of get a feel for it, but I felt like there was like a little tiny bit, and I hate to always come back to Xenoblade, but a little bit of influence from them here in terms of the spaces and like the exploration elements of them. They really lean into that in Arise, interestingly, but I felt that a little bit here.
I mean, maybe, but Xillia came out only a year after Xenoblade did.
That's true.
So it's
That's true.
it's a 2010 versus 2011. So it's I think it might be just a more general trend in game design there. Like I don't know. We make fun of Ubisoft for making empty games with full of quest markers to go to, and I mean Assassin's Creed was 2007. I don't that maybe that means something, maybe that means nothing, but there was a trend of Tales of games having sort of more elaborate dungeons and narrower spaces in the 2000s, and open spaces and sort of less elaborate dungeons in the 2010s. And I think Xillia was a turning point for that.
Mhm. I mean, it's funny because I'm going through like Berseria, like the dungeons here are much better. Like I feel like there they lean too much into that, and it's like they're very empty and they're all samey. Whereas here, I felt like it was sort of a nice blend of those two ideas to me. I like the dungeons in this game.
Yeah, the dungeon designs are pretty good.
Yeah, I generally like them as well. And I just think that they do a pretty good job with tone in Tales of Exilia. Like that beach area in between the Sea Haven and Neokera is actually a weirdly relaxing, serene dungeon. And the place where I am now, Burmia Gorge, is like feels more like a dungeon than a lot of spaces in Arise or Berseria did. I haven't beaten Tales of Berseria, but I did play through more than half of it a couple of years ago. Uh, and that's just a general trend here. A lot of people that started with Abyss or Symphonia, which I think are maybe still the two most popular games among Western fans, like they miss the days of elemental temples full of puzzles and things of that nature, and those aren't there the same way in the Tales games of the 2010s.
No, not really.
Yeah, I can't think of any real puzzle mechanics in these. I mean, there's one where you have to hit rocks a bunch. That sort
Oh
of felt like
yeah,
a little
the
bit like, but really there's not even really a lot of gimmicks in them. Once or twice, but for the most part, it's very straightforward, even through the end of the game.
yeah, it's kind of like you climb or crawl at certain points, but
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
mostly
about
you're just
it.
navigating a dungeon map that has some dead ends and some treasure without anything too fancy. And a lot of older Tales games even have a mechanic where you have to use items like here's a little ring that shoots fire, and you can change it to a ring that shoots an electric bolt to power up machines. And there's way fewer things like that in Exilia. I think they focused way more on models and environments and less on making really dense spaces compared to previous games. And also like the Sea Haven outside of Neokera and the Sea Haven outside of Charlton are like the same layout. Like whenever
That is true throughout.
yeah,
Every
whenever
single sea
Yeah,
haven looks
sea
exactly the same.
whenever
havens
you
are
go to a
always.
new port city, which are called sea havens, they are identical with maybe different colored sky or buildings or something. So like things like that. I would never say the word lazy, but they reuse assets and are very and are clearly putting more effort into parts of the game than other parts.
I mean, I feel like at this point in like sort of JRPG development, like things slowed down a lot, partially because like developers struggled with the develop in HD. I feel like Japanese developers in particular,
Yeah,
and so like
th-
given the speed at which Tales games came out, like I can see how they probably made that part of their development process just to keep that speed up.
um, I don't think this was the first HD Tales of game. Was it? Well,
I'm not sure if it was I don't think it was. But my point is just that like that is like in Berseria too. Like just thinking about like that sort of that era. If I'm thinking about Xillia to Berseria, just thinking about how samey so much of it is, um, and I don't really have a problem with it because it allows it to sort of focus on what Tales games do well, which is characters and story and things like that.
and
Hmm.
combat, which we are definitely going to talk
Yeah,
about.
indeed.
Oh yes, combat.
So I guess my point is that like a lot of Japanese developers at the time like just could not get stuff out quickly enough, and to me that's maybe a part of it.
I'm not sure if HD is really the turning point, but there was at least at least a specific time where they had to have games that looked like modern games. So budgets increased dramatically for things like environments and characters. And this happened to probably every studio, but you could tell that in starting with Tales of Exilia, maybe starting a little earlier, they a lot of the budget goes into making the game and characters look good and the characters animate well, and less of the budget goes into um, like environment assets. So they have to do things like reuse assets for these sea havens or for the grassy areas in between towns, where again they look a lot of the they look very very similar, except maybe this one in a colder climate has autumn trees instead of summer trees or so,
Yep.
or things like
Yeah.
that. But but yeah, like I think this is at least a blip in the timeline of developers having to make concessions or make choices for like what parts of game development to focus on, and just comparing Xillia to even Vesperia, which was 4 years earlier, is very, very noticeable. um Graces is harder because I have never played the Wii version of Graces. I've only played a little bit of the PS3 version, and uh, that's probably a different bag of tricks. But maybe we should talk about the game itself a little bit. Again, because this game was marketed as sort of the union of the Tales studios and the first Tales game of a new era. They let you choose between between two main characters with Jude and Milla, and right at the beginning of the game, you choose one. You play through the same story as either character, but cutscenes will be different. You know, maybe during one story segment, Jude will go into a room and talk to, say, Elise, while Mila will go into the other room and talk to Alvin, and you'll only see one of those cutscenes. It's there are story and dialogue differences in these Tales games, depending on whether you choose Jude or Mila. But gameplay wise, nothing really changes. Jude and Mila are together for the entire game that I've played through, probably the majority of the game going forward. Zach, you can tell us if there's a large separation point, because Tales games are known to have people come and go.
There are a few times where you separate out and then you would follow, at least from what I've read, you would follow Mila along her path and sort of see the story from her perspective over here, or Jude over here. Late in the game, there's a pretty large section where the two of them are separated, and I think the story beats are pretty different between the two of them.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was sort of expecting more of that than what I experienced so far. Audra, you're a little farther than I am, but you haven't finished the game yet. Have you gone through who did you pick for your main character, and have you gone through a large solo section yet?
I picked Mila for my main character, and I did go through a section where she becomes unavailable for a time, and you play as Jude then, but she's still there. There's plot reasons why she's not
Okay, yeah, she's.
involved.
I'm
And
gonna assume she's either captured or incapacitated, and then you take over as Jude. Yeah,
yes,
sure.
and then before that, there's one scene where it seems like they switch from a Jude scene really quickly to a Mila scene, and then you control Mila where you run through the fort to try to, I guess, in the end, you reunite with the party.
Yeah, it's two different paths in that fort as well, if I'm not mistaken. I'm guessing the beginning's different too, right? Like you start controlling Mila at the beginning, right? I did
Yeah,
Jude,
yeah.
so okay.
Yeah, I think you play as her right when you meet Jude.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's different or.
There's a tiny bit of exploring the first town as Jude. You go to a clinic and see some patients just to communicate that, oh yeah, he is a medical student, but he is an advanced medical student that is able to take care of patients. He's friends with one or more of the professors, etc. I am playing Jude right now, but when I tried to play through 10 years ago, I did go with Mila. So I remember some of the differences between their paths, but it was a long time ago. So I'm not going to rely on those memories. But that's the gist of it. Jude is in a town called Fenmont, where he's a medical student, and Mila is a mysterious woman with frankly gravity-defying hair that appears out of nowhere, claiming to be Maxwell, or at least an incarnation of Maxwell. Maxwell is the Lord of Elemental Spirits. He was a summon way back in the day in Tales of Fantasia in 1995 or 96. Was Tales of Fantasia? I forget. I'd have to look that up. Um, but she is on a quest to destroy a Spyrix, which is it seems like a weapon of mass destruction of sorts that uses huge amounts of mana to power it. And calling back to Tales of Fantasia and many other Tales games, frankly, um, essentially every Tales game has elemental spirits or a pervasive magical force called mana that is the lifeblood of the earth, and spirits are manifestations of mana that are also how that govern the classical elements and use of magic. And in Tales of Fantasia, one of the earliest quests that you have to do is find the three no, the four main elemental spirits, Ifrit, Undine, Sylph, and Gnome, and use the four together to summon Maxwell, the Lord of Spirits. And Maxwell is named after James Clerk Maxwell, a famous physicist that helped define the anatomy of the atom. And Maxwell has powers over matter and space in Tales of Fantasia. But those four elemental spirits I mentioned first, and many others that some of which came later, are in a lot of the Tales games. And meeting elemental spirits, having characters that can summon them or channel them for magic spells, is a very recurring thing. And in Tales of Xillia, uh, like everyday people can use mana all the time. Like they try to channel Ifrit to, or let's say a worker in the street in Femmont would channel Ifrit to cast a little fire spell to light the lamps at night. And all of the people that work at the medical school and hospital with Jude channel their own mana to cast healing spells, or they're called arts most of the time in Tales of games. So Tales of Xillia is a world where using elemental spirits and partnering with elemental spirits is common. But there's something in the town Jude lives in that is draining huge amounts of mana and possibly killing the spirits. So Milla, acting as either Maxwell himself or a representative of Maxwell, wields the four great elemental spirits, has crazy magic powers, and she's storming the laboratory in Fenmont to destroy this mana draining machine called a Spyrix. And Jude runs into her because he's looking for his missing professor, who's late for an appointment, and accompanies her into this laboratory with armed guards. And he sees his professor hooked up into a chamber, and his body's disintegrated, ostensibly used to power the Spyrix, which is horrifies Jude immediately. And Milla, who's a little bit impersonal, a little bit emotionless, is focusing on destroying the Spyrix. The four summoned spirits accidentally get sucked into it, but Mila's able to take a key out of the machine and escape with Jude. And then our story continues. They manage to escape to a sea haven on the next continent over, accompanied by a mercenary named Alvin, who seems to decide to help them almost at random. So, okay, that was a long monologue. I'm sorry. But
that's like the first 45 minutes, so that's not that long.
That's the first 45 minutes or so. So, but there's a lot of recurring tales of things here, like humans damaging the environment with over-industrialization or a machine of war. That's been in multiple Tales games, including Tales of Fantasia. Having the elemental spirits and Maxwell and a character who is clearly going to betray you, or at least have a hidden agenda, because I mean it is so obvious with Alvin. I don't know what it is.
Mhm.
He's either working for the Rajagul government or the Ojul government, or that weird group that Jiao is part of. He's in one of those three for sure, and informing, and
Yes.
some kind of informant, but I do not know what it is yet. Am I warm, Zach?
No, you're totally on. You're totally on it, and I think that they make it, even before they reveal it for real, they make it very obvious that Alvin is the classic Tales of traitor, more than other games that I've played.
Several Tales games have a traitor. Sometimes it's a bit of a surprise. Sometimes it really isn't. All the way going famously, one of the main cast in Tales of Destiny, the second Tales game, betrays the party, and they even make fun of him. Like whenever his equipment shows up in a later Tales game, the other that the character wearing it thinks thoughts of betrayal and stuff. They get real weird about
super funny.
And when he the mask is even called like the Mask of Judas eventually. Being heavy-handed with the naming of it. Hopefully that's not a spoiler from a game from 25 years ago. But
oh, there we go.
I know. Still want that. I still want that PS2 Tales of Destiny director's cut to come out. I Tales of Destiny plays like it's walking through molasses. So I never finished it, but it has a genuinely pretty good story, and I want that PS2 remake so bad. It looks so.
It's always one I wanted to play.
My dream is to make $1 billion and found a localization studio to bring like Tales of Destiny remake and Tales of Rebirth to the world. It's a very weird specific dream, I know, but alas, here we are. But there's these recurring Tales themes of a classic anime betrayal and an environmental story where spirit users are good, technology users are bad, but there's good and bad people on both sides and multiple agendas, and characters will have their ideals challenged and changed. All of this is
you've pretty much described the entire plot of Tales of Xillia, so nicely done.
Yeah, well, it is. I mean, again, I've only played the first quarter or so of Tales of Xillia, but like all of these are such classic Tales things that just seeing the machinations take place feels nostalgic and fun to me. But the other thing that maybe is a classic part of Tales that fans would associate with the games are, well, two things. One is overcomplicated new words and systems. Like, I mean, I've already thrown around Spyrix and Maxwell Spirits and Neokara and stuff, but the Tales series is maybe the king of made up RPG ass words. Like every game has them. Like, people that played Legendia will remember Eris and Aaron, and people that played Vesperia might remember Blastias. Like, there's stupid made up language and magic technology in every Tales game. But the other thing is the combat. Dating back to Tales of Phantasia, there is a really good action oriented combat that feels at times like a fighting game, at times like a complete clown fiesta of spell effects and slashing sounds. But I believe starting with Eternia, almost every Tales game is also multiplayer in combat. Regrettably, Tales of Arise, the most recent one, removed the multiplayer, I think, as a consequence to get the game released in a timely manner. But a lot of the Tales games have frantic combat, a lot of them have multiplayer, and almost always they're fun and unique to each Tales game. So, Audra, this is your first Tales game. I'm sorry I've been over talking everyone this episode already, but what was your early impressions of the action in Tales? I'm sorry, Tales of Xillia.
Oh, I quite liked it. I mean, the combat's it's fast, it's fluid, and it really, I mean, like the whole linking concept was fun. Just figuring out how to link the characters together and how to perform their special moves.
Yeah, and that linking concept, I think, makes Tales of Xillia maybe the best two-player Tales game of memory, because you have four characters at once in combat, and in Tales of Xillia, but not previous ones, you can link two together. So let's say Jude and Milla can be linked together, and Alvin and Elise can be linked together. And when two characters are linked together, the character in the link that you're not controlling will automatically try to surround the enemy you're attacking and do special moves during your combo to make basically it makes pairs of characters stronger and creates some pretty functional AI situations and gives them extra special moves. And if you're really if you're really good at this, and I am not yet, you can do a combo that's 3 or 4 hits, then do a special move. Then if your meter is full enough, you can hit R2 and have them do an enhanced team special move. And then in the blink right after that, you can perform another special move and have it be executed immediately after. And if you have a bunch of linked moves equipped at once and connect at once, you can... Oh, and while you're in over limit mode, if your meter's higher enough, you can do those linked special moves over and over instead of one at a time. You can get some pretty disgusting combos going if you have a good setup and good timing, of which I have neither yet.
I didn't either, but I did. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Audra.
It takes practice. I've just started getting better at the syncing up the combos myself.
and also each character has a different... I mean, of course, they play differently, and then have different moves and different fighting styles and different speeds. Like Jude is probably the fastest character in the game, unless Leia is a real speed demon. I haven't recruited her yet.
She's quick, but she's not as quick as Jude.
Yeah. Jude's a fast boy. Like each character has a different type of enemy that they're good against. Like Jude is really good at scoring knockdowns and dodging around, like flipping around to the enemy's back and doing quick back steps for evasion. Milla can chain her elemental spells into melee versions very easily, and so she's able to get like almost any element of attack that you want in a link. And then she and Jude have a zillion links together. I think the game is trying to tell you, hey, whether you prefer Milla or Jude, like link them together because they're real good.
Yeah.
There's also an ability that Jude has called Palm Strike that causes stun, like very frequently. And every time you stun an enemy and you're linked with Milla, she like binds them in place. And so if you just like literally spam Palm Strike, which, spoiler alert, I did it over 9,000 times in this game, your enemies won't move. So you should definitely chain them together.
I'm not sure I have Palm Strike yet, but no, if you get enemies into a stun state with Jude, and probably Palm Strike does that instantly, Milla will bind their movements and give you free hits.
Yep.
Alvin's move, if you link with him, is a guard break. So like if you attack a guarding enemy enough times while you're linked with Alvin, he'll do a follow-up move that instantly breaks them. And Alvin's moves, if you're controlling Alvin, he uses a big sword in one hand and a gun in the other. If you hold down the circle button, the special move button, after you finish a special move, he'll connect his gun to his sword and then do an explosive finisher to it. And so like every character has these unique bits about them, whether you're controlling them or you're controlling someone else and are linked to them. That makes the possibilities pretty insane. Elise, who is the character that joined me, oh, not most recently, but who joined me pretty recently, is a little girl with a doll. She has some healing spells and some light elemental spells, I think. And maybe she learns more later, but I haven't used her a ton. Her follow-up move is her crazy talking doll will munch on the enemy and heal both her and her partner's HP and TP a little bit. So she allows you to regenerate your TP more quickly. And TP,
Tipo.
yeah, TPO, which kind of sounds like TP already. Like, but the TPO's good at regenerating TP. Who'd have thunk? But TP is the game's energy resource, which might be MP or SP or PP in a different RPG. And some Tales games are notorious for having you run low on TP all the time and huffing orange gels like they're Tic Tacs. This game does a pretty good job of giving you more ways of regenerating TP. Like if I'm ever super low on TP, I'll just I'll do 2 combos without TP, and then suddenly I'm back at 75% again, which is way better than how Tales of the Abyss does it. Trust me on this one.
Yeah, I mean, even from Vesperia, which is actually one of the reasons that I got frustrated with that game, was like I just like I was running out of TP constantly. Like if I was just like doing arts every once in a while, I was just like burning through gels. Whereas here, by the end of the game, at least TP is irrelevant, and even halfway, quarter of the way through, like you are, like there are easy ways to manage it, and there's so many skills you can put on that regenerate it. That eventually it's not an issue to the point to where it's like almost irrelevant, and it seems like it shouldn't be there. But I still liked it better than just constantly throwing down orange gels. As
having to restore.
Yeah. The game has a skill system that's a little bit like Final Fantasy X Sphere Grid called the Lilium Orb, where every time you level up, you can put points into the Lilium Orb. They give you skills that you can equip, but you can't equip every single skill at once because there's a skill point limitation. But a lot of those skills will do things like improve your guarding, giving you extra hits in your combo, or finding ways to regenerate HP or TP. And the TP regeneration in Xillia is way faster than previous Tales games. And the game right before Xillia, Tales of Graces, didn't really have TP at all. They had a system called AC, which is or attack combo or attack count maybe, where basically there you would have a fixed AC, and comboing enemies would count down, but hitting a weakness or a critical hit or doing a special skill will increase the AC count. So
it's basically like Tales of Berseria's then?
Yes. Tales of Xillia combines the old TP system with the AC system, basically giving you both, but having TP regenerate rapidly. And from after Xillia, or maybe after Xillia 2, I haven't played Xillia 2, perhaps obviously.
Xillia 2 uses the same system, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So after Xillia 2, maybe starting with Zestiria, Tales games abandon TP and focus on a combo-driven system like AC. There's no TP in. Well, actually, no. There is a system sort of like TP in Tales of Arise, but it's only for healing spells. So you don't have infinite healing spells. Basically, like there's a shared TP that the whole party uses for healing spells, whether it's in menu or in combat, so that you are limited by TP a little bit and still need orange gels in Tales of Arise, but it's strictly for healing, while all the fighting and all the spells are strictly driven by your combo. So Tales games used to have a problem with MP resources, and it became less and less of a problem to now that they barely have it anymore. And Tales of Xillia is right in the middle of that bridge of leaving TP. But I think the system in general works. Like you're able to use your coolest spells or attacks most of the time, and if you can't, then you just need to go to your overlimit gauge, or for one battle or so, don't use much TP, and it will come back.
Yeah, only in like very occasionally long drawn out battles did my item usage, like, I say like below 20%, please use an orange gel. Did that even trigger? Yeah, I mean, like I think it works well. I will admit that I think that the CP system in Arise is better, but the combat in Arise is incredible, right?
CP, that's what they're called. It's combo points, but here it's called AC in Xillia, but CP, I think it's CP in Graces and Arise, if I remember correctly.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I know CP is just that healing pool. Yeah, and
right.
Overall, I think it's great. I think that maybe it's just my inclination towards breaking things, but like I just want like the easiest way out. And Xillia presents you with a lot of ways and a lot of options to just like spam the same move over and over and over again. And I really like that. But I could see some people being like annoyed by how easy that can make the game. But you know, that's like a me problem personally. So I really enjoyed it.
I mean, the classic Tales of combo is a couple regular attacks, then a basic art, then an advanced art, and then you find a way to have your partners continue the combo, and then you start from a basic attack again. And in Tales of Xillia, they flip that around a little bit with this link system, where it's more like regular attack, base art, link into a linked art, and then try to continue the link chain until you can get back to basic attacks. And it's, again, I haven't unlocked all the characters even, and so I know there's many more link skills to learn, but so far it feels pretty good, and I have not been remotely challenged by a boss yet, but I know that there's going to be some HP sponge or some, man mountain of health that has minions and everything that will be a problem going forward, but right now I'm doing okay. Zach, was any part of Exilia really challenging? I mean, you mentioned a couple of them force you to go into your item resources again, but like, was there anything that was really a gameplay wall, like the wolf in Vesperia?
No, nothing like that. There was maybe one or two regular battles that like I had characters die during. But other than that, no. And I did. I mean, I did it all the way through the post game for this, and even like the biggest challenge post game boss. Like I didn't have to level up. I didn't have to. I literally my combo system in this game was I hit circle over and over again, palm strike, palm strike, palm strike. And if you've played Xillia before, you might be familiar with that. And so no, this game is actually very easy, and I kind of maybe wish I'd played it on hard for that reason, but I kind of like breezing through it too.
The dirty secret about Tales of Symphonia is that the least cool character, Colette, learns a move called Parabol, where if you just keep pressing circle with Parabol, you will beat that game. It's like
That's what I did in this game with
like
palm strike.
like the fifth spell she learns is somehow good for the entire game. But so like maybe Palm Strike is the Parabol of Tales of Exilia. When I was playing Symphonia with people in my college dorm, I got like the last pick of characters, so I didn't get to use the Sword Boy Lloyd or the magic sword guy Zelos or anything. Like I got the weird girl that threw discs and had like and basically she had spells kind of like Elise where she could summon a big hammer and stuff. But when I learned the spiked ball parabol spell, it's like, oh, I'm suddenly the MVP of every fight. What happened? But Tales of Exilia combat is a sort of an interesting crossroads of Tales of combat. I'm enjoying figuring it out as a Tales of fan, and I'm also enjoying it just because it's good and functional and does what I want most of the time. But Audra, you have all 6 characters now, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I have not found the 6th character yet. I very recently got Rowan, the 5th character. Do you have a favorite to control?
Milla at the moment. I use Windblade a lot.
So you'll equip your strongest wind spell, but then add it as the combo instead of hold down the circle button. So it's, you'll finish Windblade or link Windblade into something else.
Yeah.
Cool.
Milla looks super. I'm the sort of guy who just like wants to press the easy button on video games. But Milla looks super fun to play. I think they all do, honestly. Like Leia, the character you don't have yet. I'm not really giving any other way here.
No, it's fine. I care the least about spoilers out of
it's happening real soon.
Yeah, out of just about anyone that I know.
But her link art, if you knock someone down, she basically steals an item every single time.
Oh,
yes,
and it's incredibly cool.
That's probably great. That's probably great with Jude because I get knockdowns with him all the time.
Exactly, and so if you link her with Jude, you're getting all those items you need to upgrade shops, which we haven't talked about yet. She's great for that. I mean, I feel like everybody feels different. Rowan feels like sort of a classic Tales of caster.
I fought maybe 2 fights with Rowan so far, but yeah. I love that he conducts with his sword like a baton when he's casting spells. Like that is just great.
It's phenomenal. And the reasons behind it are even cooler. Rowan's a great character. The great characters here are great.
Rowan is an awesome.
I love how Tales games will have an old man character, but the old man will be like 30.
I love that he's actually old this time. Yeah, he's like 60.
Exactly. like Clarth is the old man in Tales of Fantasia, and he's 28, and Raven is the old man in Tales of Vesperia, and he's 35, which I am older.
I feel attacked by that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm older than 35, and I hate everything about that. But this time, they have an old man RPG character that's actually an old man, and he's a cool old man. Like Strago's coming back, baby. This is great. Give us more old ladies or at least middle-aged men and women in RPGs. I love to see it every time. There's
Right. It's one of the reasons Yakuza Like a Dragon is such a great game.
yeah, we got wait. Oh yeah, because like the youngest character. Okay, the youngest character in that are Sayako and the two women in your party are like 25, but all of the
Right.
men in the party are at least 30, at least 38. Like they're between 38 and 60, and that's great.
I love that.
Mhm.
I love that.
Actually, Jun Han might be younger than that, but he's so handsome. I'll forgive him for anything. But okay, back to Tales of Xillia. Maybe we should do Like a Dragon Revisited one of these days because I love that game so much. But so at the outset, we have this world dominated by mana and spirits. Jude and Milla go on the run. They're accompanied by Alvin. They go to the other continent. The two big continents in this game are the world is called Res Maxia, and you hear that word about 1,000. I heard that word probably 20 times before I realized it was the name of the world and not the name of a country. And the two big countries on opposite continents are Rashugal and Ojul. Rashugal is where Jude's from. Ojul is where Mila's from. I think they've had wars in the past, but are now sort of in some kind of ceasefire. There's not like an active conflict going on right now, but the two countries definitely don't love each other. Rashugal is dominated by an empire centered in Fenmont. Ojul is dominated more by sort of separate clans that are a little bit more independent of one another than what's going.
There's a king that
Okay, there's King of
rules over
Ojul,
all of them as well.
Yeah.
but they did mention that there was a clan system in Ojul
Yes.
and an empire in Rajagal where the six noble houses of Rajagal have been sort of stomped on by the empire. Because
yes, that's accurate.
yeah, in the city where I am in now, or just left, was Sherrilton, which was ruled by the Sherrill family, which is one of the six noble houses of Rajagal. But they are definitely getting bullied by, or worse, by the king or by the emperor.
Mm-hmm.
Is he an emperor or a king in Rajagal?
I'm pretty sure he's an emperor. I should know. His name is Noctigal.
Yeah, this feels like one of those
Yeah.
JRPG kingdoms are good, empires bad kind of tones.
A little bit early on. I definitely think that one is probably better than the other, but neither of them are really nice guys.
Yeah, that's totally fair. That's the case in some older Tales games as well, which we don't need to revisit necessarily, including Tales of the Abyss, which we've done 2 episodes of Retro Encounter on. But in general, they escape to Ojul. They visit Mila's hometown, which is very religiously focused. They worship Mila like a goddess because when she was born as a human baby, she was. I'm not sure if she is Maxwell or is a human woman
I think it's story.
Yeah, I need to play more of the story.
Our understanding is that she is Maxwell.
Yeah, our understanding is
actually Maxwell.
Yeah, our understanding is that she is actually Maxwell, but because she's so naive of the world and has and clearly said multiple times to have existed as a human for 20 years, my feeling is that she was a human baby and the spirit of Maxwell's inside her. She's some kind of avatar of Maxwell. But it's something like that. It's not 100% clear to me where I am in the story right now. But she has been blessed by the spirits from birth. So she has Ifrit, Sylph, Undine, and Gnome, like basically hanging out around her like her friends. And because of the power of the great 4 spirits filling her, she never had a need to sleep or eat or probably poop. But I don't think that they mentioned that in a skit yet. Maybe they did and I missed
They
it.
do not.
But
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they did, but they haven't.
yeah, but when she loses her powers at that Spyrix event, is it Spyrinx or Spyrix? It's Spyrinx. Spyrix. Okay, I'm just the worst at remembering words. Oh, my brain is basically the scene from the kitchen in Ratatouille where there's mice running the entire thing, scampering around.
Hey, but they make some brilliant food, so that's all that matters.
No, that vegetable medley they make does look amazing. But anyway,
yes.
but back to Tales of Xillia. So when she loses the Great 4, or they're sucked into the Spyrix, or appear to have been sucked into Spyrix, she suddenly is a regular human. I mean, she still can use magic because a lot of humans can channel spirits and use magic in this world, but she's not like superhuman anymore, and is discovering things like hunger and exhaustion for the first time. And she's doing it in a way that's, I think, sort of endearing. Like she seems to really enjoy eating and sleeping in a way that's pretty funny. and is accepting. She accepts that she no longer has the powers, but she still wants to complete her mission and live up to her name as Maxwell. So she's not she doesn't have a horrible personality, but she sometimes is a little bit naive or lacking understanding in a way that comes across as rude or mean. But she's learning, and we're seeing her learn as the game goes on. And
Mhm.
Jude, who sort of accidentally stumbled into assisting her in Fenmont and becoming a fugitive against his will, instead of like turning her in or fighting back, he's sort of going along with it, going, well, what she wants to do seems to be important, and I guess in for a penny, in for a pound. So he's sort of accompanying her, and my dumb romance brain is thinking, oh, Jude likes Milla, but Milla doesn't know yet. Like so that's what I'm thinking is going on, and that's, I think, going to be a big part of the journey going forward. Milla learning about humanity, Jude continuing to help her and being maybe the goodiest do-gooder in the whole series since Lloyd, at least. Uh,
Yeah, Jude is my least favorite character of the six by a pretty wide margin because of that. Whereas Mila, I like her like sort of cool, calm, collected demeanor, which makes her really funny sometimes. Alvin is sort of like your classic playboy. He's very funny, but he's got outside of the things you've already guessed, he's got some really interesting things about him. I like the whole cast, except for Jude is a little too squeaky clean
he
for
is
me.
he is a little bit too vanilla ice cream. I don't hate him, but he's the least interesting flavor, really.
Yeah, like he makes Reen look interesting, honestly. So
Oh
that's
boy.
saying
Oh, that's
something.
that's I don't know who that's ruder towards, really.
That's
That
the
might
lowest blow
be.
that I think I've ever
That's
given a
pretty
character.
mean. I don't love Alvin because that's not my favorite kind of character. There's some other Tales characters like him. Everyone will compare him to Zelos from Symphonia, probably, and because he's so obviously working with another agenda. I'm just rolling my eyes whenever he's like, oh, don't tell Mita that I asked you about her secrets. Don't just forget about it, buddy. Like when he does something like, it's like, come on, man, you're even bad about being a nonchalant spy.
Yeah,
Um,
but I kind of liked that. And he is given some real flavor and some real depth in ways that I thought were really, because early on I agree with you. Like my girlfriend, I was playing it with her or in front of
Yeah.
her, and she loves Alvin. I'm like, he's like, whatever. Like I get this trope. I get it. All right.
like
And I play it
you're
more. I
making
play it
it
more. I'm
real
like, okay,
obvious.
you're pretty cool. You're pretty cool. Never mind. I like his character arc probably as much as anyone in this game. And I think a lot of them have really good
My
ones.
favorite thing about Alvin is his giant, oversized black scarf that he has tucked into his shirt. Where
It's very
it's
stylish.
basically like a cape that he wears in the front instead of the back, which reminds me of the giant tie that the main character of Disgaea 2 has. So yeah, for a very stupid reason, I have one thing I really like about Alvin. Elise is a character that you meet in the second or third town of the game, where she is locked in a shed for unclear reasons and bullied by the townsfolk, but also has a protector named Zhao, who is both the person protecting her from the townsfolk and the person keeping her locked in the shed. So there's definitely something there about Elise and Zhao and
Hmm.
others that I don't know yet, and I'm looking forward to finding out. But Jude helps free Elise and has her
Can we
join the
talk
party.
about the way Zhao walks before we move on?
Oh yeah, how
Because
he
the way Zhao walks is absolutely
kind of with
hilarious.
his entire body. He's a
Yes.
very very large
Yeah.
man, but he walks with huge steps, and like every part of his body animates with every step, including his two-pronged beard, which is
Yeah.
a beard, like sort of shaped like some of those barbecue tongs that split in the middle a little bit,
Yeah.
or maybe like a pair of kitchen scissors is how I would describe Jiao's beard. Um, Fourth of July was recently, so I maybe I have cookouts on the mind. Um, but and Zhao is also part of the group. You meet a woman at the beginning of the game in that laboratory, the first boss fight of the game. A woman in a red dress who is working with with the human experimentation. And then when you're journeying to Niakara, Mila's hometown, you find another woman who's wearing a some kind of ridiculous split dress. And when Jude comments that
Yes.
she's sexy, Alvin's like, Jude, I didn't think you had it in you, which was amusing.
Like that of all our JRPG costumes, hers defies gravity more than most.
Yes, yeah, no, we're talking.
Yes, it's quite a
Yeah,
wonder.
if it's a spectrum of unnecessarily, like unnecessarily cut dresses, this might be the worst in the game. And Mila's got fishnets and a mini skirt, and she's got and
Hmm.
again hair that is impossible. So No one's exactly innocent
But
here.
that's because Sylph, I think, did her hair.
Oh yeah, Sylph did her hair, and and probably there's wind magic keeping it in place.
See, at least they explain it this time.
Yeah, for Tales of Berseria, like why Velvet's hair is as insane as it is, and why she keeps her torn prison clothes for most of the game is never very well explained.
Because she had to look as much like Milla as possible. They are totally like the exact same character design. It's amazing.
Milla to Velvet, there is some visual DNA there shared a little bit, but I enjoy both Milla and Velvet, so I can't say I'm not trying to.
Milla is
please
awesome.
don't call me a prude here, but and Elise is she's dressed conservatively, sort of like a gothic Lolita style. She's a very meek girl. Jude frees her from the town only because he is someone that if someone's suffering, he has to help them because again of his justice and goodness obsessed personality. At first, Mila's kind of mad that she just took along a stranger for no reason, but Elise is so happy to be welcomed as part of a group that she immediately tries to help people, and she's like, "Hey, I can cast spells too." And then Milla calms down and is like, "All right, if you can fight in the party, then I guess you can join the team."
I mean, she also has a floating talking doll accompanying her.
Yep. We mentioned Tipo before, and Tipo is, a lot of Tales games have ridiculous cartoon mascots that are there for reasons unclear, and Tipo checks that box nicely. And I don't mind Alvin and Elise in the party. Like Alvin's like a very slow Tales swordsman, while Mila's is exactly walking the line between Tales swordsman and Tales mage. And Elise is a kind of Tales mage, sort of like Annis from Abyss or Colette from Symphonia, where she has unusual light or darkness magic. So like the party was filling out nicely, and we're in the first 4 hours of the game or so. And then right after Milla goes to her hometown, she attempts to summon the four again. It fails. She realizes that the four are trapped and not simply gone temporarily. So her plan is to return to Fenmont and crash the laboratory again, which, will probably go poorly if she goes alone. So Jude and Alvin agree to stay with her, although Alvin does so for reasons that feel like total BS. It's obvious to me he's staying with the group to keep tabs on them and feed information back to a third party. And I do not know what the third party is yet, but I'm sure Alvin has his own agenda. I don't want to repeat myself. And Jude is doing it because he's telling Milla he just wants to help her, but he's telling the audience, I have a crush on Milla, and I am just fine about that. This sounds great to me.
We missed the worst character in this game, though, who is Ivar.
Oh, Ivar! Oh my god!
Yes.
Yeah, Ivar is Milla's caretaker, or
did we miss him?
Or handmaid, I guess they called him, and he is so overprotective of Milla and definitely weirdly attracted to her and distrustful of everyone and has comedic overreactions to everything that I was so glad when he didn't join my party. Oh my god. If he had joined the party, this would have plummeted down my internal ranking of Tales games.
I'm kidding, right? Apparently, he's the one who also designed Milla, according to Milla.
He designed her clothes. Her
outfits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Of course he did.
Yeah, he did. So we know that at least he's a legs guy. We can confirm that about Ivar. But Elise joins after that failed summoning. And you meet Zhao, the third member of this mysterious group that, again, I'm not sure if they're with the kingdom of Rashagal or the kingdom of Ojul, or if they're a third party. Maybe Alvin is reporting to them. I'm not sure. But there is definitely a shadowy group of, I think, 5 or 6 people that those 3 early boss fights are part of. You fight Zhao as you're trying to escape to the next town. Again, Zhao was Elise's guardian in that orchard village of rude people.
I really like that moment after you beat him too, where he, because Zhao seems like he's probably a villain at this point, right? Like he's keeping her captive. He's obviously part of this secret organization. But after they beat him in the fight, because he's basically like trying to bring Elise back to the town.
Oh yeah.
He says like, don't ever leave your friends. Maybe she needs to be with other people. Like you can see like that caring relationship
be good for her.
that he has with her. And I think that's really interesting.
You can tell that he was trying to protect her, even though he probably knew that she hated being locked up in a shed in a town where she didn't know anybody. He knows her past, or at least something about her that the audience doesn't know yet. But he's definitely willing to fight the party to have her return to him. So I don't know what his deal or Lisa's deal yet, and I know it'll come forward. And this is not the first or even the fifth shadow organization you're dealing with in a Tales of game. Like in Tales of the Abyss, there are six. There's a group of six enemies called the God Generals that almost one for one correspond to members of your party. Like in which one has a connection to the other, and which one is definitely going to have a duel or a showdown later. Similar deal with the with the different rulers of each kingdom in Tales of Arise. Like there, this series loves giving you like a team of enemies that will obviously be boss fights later, and sort of giving them each personalities and motivations that are fun to explore. Like it reminds me of like a 1980s Super Sentai series in a way that gladdens me very much. Like just ridiculous numbered or named teams of enemies. I love it every time. So yeah, so
Well,
this game has it all. It has good combat. It has interesting characters. It has anime betrayals. It has numbered groups of enemies. It has romance. This is an absolutely Sollosi ass game, and I'm looking forward to finishing it. The you know what, we haven't really mentioned him that much. The old man Rowan you meet right after the Zhao boss fight. He is a caretaker for a young woman named Roselle. We talked about Cherylton a little bit. I'm a little bit after the events of Cherylton is where I am in the game. And I like Rowan a lot, but I have only used him a couple times. The last character is named Leia. We've mentioned her a few times. She's the thief of your party. She's very quick. She can auto steal items. The item system in this game, every shop in this game is identical, but by donating items to the shop, like material style items, you level up the shop as you go, which is really interesting. Like I in a way it feels like cutting corners. Like they couldn't give us a unique shop in every village, but in a way it's like I wish I could upgrade every shop in every RPG, because I just love leveling up things more than
yeah,
anything. Like
yeah,
Yeah, and then you don't have to backtrack if you need
yeah,
something
you could just yeah,
specific.
just go to the nearest shop, or the shop nearest to where you are. And some shops, like it changes every time, but like every time you go into a village, the weapon shop will get you double points for ore, and maybe the armor shop will give you double points for bird items like feathers or eggs. And you can just sort of like, oh, I'll just hold on to my items until I get double points on something, and just only donate when I have double points to do this more efficiently. Like again, being a person that, or maybe three people at rpgfan.com, what do we love more than leveling up things and opening treasure chests,
exactly.
right? Those
Yes.
are way high up on things that we love to do in video games. So yeah, there's a lot of systems. The combat's pretty elaborate. The story is and characters are pretty good so far, even though they really do fit in a number of anime tropes or Tales of boxes. But I'm having a great time. Zach, well, I'll ask you this question in the next episode as well. But your overall impression of Tales of Xillia was pretty positive, right?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think that they talking about those systems of leveling up. There's like an area outside of Niakara that you can go and just run around, and you can easily break that shop system very early on. Strongly recommend. It's like the Flood Meadows or something.
Oh, is it?
Don't fight any of the enemies; they will kill you.
Oh,
Um,
but if you go and grab resources, you'll get
yep.
you'll get end
Oh
game
yeah,
or late game resources early on.
yeah,
Okay, that makes sense. Sure.
yeah. Mid game maybe, but it's good. That's around where I think Audra is at this point. But yeah, I mean, I think
Yeah.
that it has enough different systems in place that you feel like you're constantly have the ability to level up. I like the that's not sphere grid system. What's it called again?
The Lilium orbs.
Lilium
Lilium orb
Orb.
system.
Yep.
I like that. I like that you can kind of customize your characters, but you also have to get like all the stats to kind of make those orbs larger as time goes. But really, for me, like it boils down to the cast. Like it's a Tales of game, right? And I think that the cast, even though they are all driven by anime tropes, especially if you do some of the sub events or like some of the sub quests that you can do later in the
Oh,
game,
geez, the subquests and the
they
skits.
really, yeah, they really, and the skits and I think especially the sub events in a lot of cases, like they will tell you like enormously important information about like their past and who they are. And I think that it fills them out really nicely. I think the game could maybe use some work on the very last portions, which we'll talk about, but I think that it's unique, it's well paced, it's got great characters, the combat's fun. I think it's a rock solid RPG.
Now, Audra, I want to get to you in a second, but I want to do mention one thing about the skit system. Skits are optional dialogue. Again, Audra and Zach, of course, you know this, but this is for the general audience. Skits are optional dialogue that you can get by pressing the select button at different points of the game. Sometimes they give you nice little backstory bits. Sometimes they're just telling a joke. Like Alvin tries to tell an S&M sex joke to Jude. Milla overhears him, and instead of acting with horror, she's like, ah, yes, some people require this kind of physical pain for intimacy. I read it in a book. And it's like, but okay, Mila, you're low-key a freak. They're done pretty well here because you can page through them. In some of the older Tales games, you couldn't skip through them, and they weren't voiced in in Tales of the Abyss or Tales of Symphonia. So for some older Tales games, you had to watch people mouth skits that clearly had a Japanese voice track but not an English one. So I think it was maybe starting in Legendia or Vesperia, they started voicing them and making them better. And they even have a really dynamic manga style presentation to them in Tales of Arise, which I thought was really good. If you remember how the skits played out, Zach, in Tales of Arise.
Yeah, they're great. The dynamic elements of those I thought were great.
At least with more recent Tales of games, these skits and extra dialogue are really fun and rewarding because the characters are generally likable and the writing is generally good. So just getting more of those characters and writing is a good time. But Audra, this is your first Tales of game. You're probably around halfway or past the halfway mark by now. What is your overall impression, and what's maybe one thing that you've enjoyed the most or almost the most?
I'm really enjoying the game. I feel like it builds upon itself. Like at first I was like, I wasn't quite sure about it at first because it seemed like they were either rushing things or going perhaps too slow. But once it hits the certain story point, it's really just it keeps moving and I love it. I quite like it. And probably my favorite, I think Mila is a standout character, especially as they go into her more.
Some Tales of protagonists are more or less likable than others, but even though Jude is a little boring, I think that Mila and Jude are pretty good. Like they are on the I like these guys. I'm rooting for these two kids side of Tales of protagonists.
Yes.
I don't know if we'll get quite as satisfying a resolution to the romance as certain other Tales games, but I am enjoying Jude and Mila as a duo, and I'm again I'm a little bit past where I finished the game, my abandoned playthrough from 10 years ago, and I'm definitely gonna finish this one in time unless I get really distracted by Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. So that's which is a real danger, but we'll
I was
see.
going to say that's a pretty good possibility.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that plays out because we are recording this in early-ish July, and I've had Sunbreak for less than a week. So we'll see if I can focus on my Lilium orbs more easily than my Lunagaron sets. But I'm no guarantees. Although I am enjoying Tales of Xillia and want to finish it. But we have a lot of story to get through, a lot of characters to get through, but we're going to save that for part 2 of our 2-part Tales of Xillia mini series. Thank you so much, Audra and Zach, for agreeing to play with this game and just talking about it with me. Zach, you were playing this game and then you finished this game before we scheduled the episode. So I
did it in about 5 days, so I liked it.
I'm glad you enjoyed it, and that makes it even more
game.
encouraging for me going forward. But listeners, thank you for listening to us jab about Tales of Xillia for an hour plus. If you're interested in our other Tales of episodes, we have 2 episodes on Tales of Vesperia, 2 episodes on Tales of the Abyss, and a couple more specific Tales of episodes like our favorite Tales game episode and our Tales of Fantasy draft from a couple years ago. All of those are in our previous 335 episodes of Retro Encounter from over the years. But that's enough about Retro Encounters past. Let's talk about where we have going forward. We are doing 2 episodes on Final Fantasy 13 in August. I have not planned out the rest of August yet. It's getting hard to schedule people, especially since people are going back to work from a summer break or on their summer vacations is a little weird. But I hopefully will have information on what's going on in August next week. But if you want to, but Final Fantasy 13 is definitely happening in the second half of August. If you want to reach out to Retro Encounter to talk about Tales of Xillia or Final Fantasy 13 or what we should play in August, what else we should play in August, you can email retro@rpgfan.com. You can also visit RPG Fans message boards, our Facebook page, our Discord, our YouTube, our Twitch, probably more, our Instagram, probably more, our Twitter. I should add that to that list here because It's a little incomplete. There's a lot of ways to interact with RPG Fan, and including listening to our podcast and engaging with us on those social media platforms. But those other podcasts, what are they? We have Random Encounter every 2 weeks about randomness and RPG topics. Rhythm Encounter every 2 weeks, also every 2 weeks. On the weeks that Random Encounter doesn't air, about RPG music, and Phoenix Edge, a podcast that has gone on a long hiatus, but they mostly focus on RPGs, topics, and current events. You can listen to Retro Encounter or those 3 other podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, or Spotify, or many other ways, however you normally listen to podcasts. If you can leave feedback, please do so, and please make it 5 stars. But if you want to leave us 5-star feedback as individuals, not as a podcast, let's tell them how to do that, starting with you, Zach.
I don't think anyone would ever want to do that. But if you want to get in contact with me, you can email me, zachw@rpgfan.com, or you can find me on RPG Fan's Discord at zachw.
How dare you, RPG Fan Quiz Show champion, demean yourself in such a manner?
It took me 5 tries, all right.
So, Audra, a worthy RPG Fan Quiz Show competitor, how can listeners find you?
Yes. Audra B at rpgfan.com.
All right, and listeners, you've maybe heard me say this 250 plus times. My name is Mike Sollosi. You can find me on Twitter at The Real Monsoon most of the time, at Evoker for Dogs other times, and on RPG Fans Discord, I am Monsoon Mike. So I have some spirits to rescue, some characters to recruit, some probably an empire to rebel against. I have a lot of Tales of Xillia ahead of me, but I'm looking forward to it when I'm not hunting monsters. Thank you. Good night, and good luck.